look at the moon, and listen to the sounds of the birds. What's poppin', people? It's Dante going for my morning walk here in Philadelphia, enjoying that crisp, cool air. There's something about fresh air, you know, being out here in the open air. I need an open space, I need land, I need something to see. You know, when I wake up in the morning, I don't desire to walk around the street. You know why? You know, the street and the city being laid out on a grid, it feels like a maze. It feels like you're trapped in a cage, and you know, I need a vantage point. I need an open space. So what I do every morning is I walk toward the Philadelphia Museum of Art. I find that the art of the architecture, the sculptures, and even just enjoying this natural path, it really does elevate the morning for me and increases my vitality. When I consider happiness, right? Happiness, to me, it's this byproduct of feeling power. You know, happiness is that sensation of bliss when you pull your physical body up onto a pull-up bar, or do some push-ups, or lift some weights, you know, or go for long walks. You know, that is where happiness is. It's within your physical body and exerting it with strength and power. You know, so maybe happiness is this thing that all humans desire to achieve. Well, I believe that it is merely a byproduct of you exerting your physical body and increasing your power, increasing your strength. And when I visit this location, it's sort of like me, I'm naturally drawn here. It's just an intuitive thing. I mostly enjoy coming to this location for the view. I like going to an elevated space every morning. I think it's just a great place to increase your power and start the day. However, the more I come here, the more I recognize the similarities between Rome and my home here in Philadelphia, considering the Greco-Roman architecture, you know, this beautiful landscape of the Fairmount Waterworks. You know, it certainly reminds me of some sections of Rome. And when you consider Rome and the myth of Rome's sort of roots, considering Remus and Romulus being raised by La Lupa, the myth of La Lupa, the she-wolf, right? This wolf that suckled the brothers Remus and Romulus, then founding Rome, I think is a very interesting myth. You know, myths are something I enjoy, right? Think of Sisyphus and him pushing the rock uphill, this sort of endless toil, where Sisyphus finds meaning in the toil through him pushing the rock and having it be rolled, and having the rock roll downhill over and over again, where he has to push it up once again. You know, can you find meaning in the toil of everyday life? Can you find meaning in the process itself, where there may be no end, there may be no goal, there may be no product in the end of it all? You know, will you continuously push that rock up the hill if you will not reach the top? You know, maybe detaching yourself from whatever the outcome is, whatever's at the end of the hill, you know, maybe then we can find true happiness from within, from the process itself, from embracing the toil and enjoying it. And when I think of Sisyphus pushing his rock up this hill, I mean, imagine the strength and power this man had, you know, to constantly be pushing that rock uphill. You know, how can we increase our power? You know, when I think of a wolf, when I think of the she-wolf, the lupa, you know, if the, you know, wolves in the wild, these savage beasts, when they slay their prey, what is the first thing that they eat? They go for the liver. They go straight for the organ meat. So maybe, like a wolf eating liver, we too should eat liver. We too should eat organ meats like beef liver. And if you go to the Haltiman's farm in the Reading Terminal Market here in Philadelphia, this farm that's been selling their products from Lancaster for over a century, you can acquire a pound of beef liver for around $2.50 or so, and it is extremely cheap. And guess what? That's all you need to eat, and then you can go to sleep. Like, you can feed yourself for $2.50 per day. Now, should we eat beef liver every day? I don't know. I think maybe once per week is good. I've been eating it once per week, and the powerful feeling it gives you the next day, it's just insane. I use an air fryer, and that's how I've been cooking it recently. I kind of just throw it in the air fryer, and I think the texture that it provides is much more it's just nicer than just cooking it on the pan for me. I enjoy air frying it and eating it with mustard, just some like spicy mustard. And yeah, I think we should become more savage, more wild, more wolf-like, and increase our power, as that to me is what will help us achieve happiness. You know, a lot of Greek myths and legends are all depicted around the Philadelphia Museum of Art. Actually, in the front, you know, there's this section on the top that showcases the various Greek gods. And you know, are we permitted to become like gods? Are we permitted to elevate our lives to the status of a demigod? You know, when I was in Florence looking at the sculptures of Achilles, looking at Hercules, looking at these ancient Greek gods and demigods, I found myself inspired. You know, for when you look at a sculpture and its grandeur and the physical body and form of these men, where they're taller than the human, they're taller and bigger and stronger than the human. When you look at something bigger, stronger, and taller, well, don't you want to strive to be like that? Don't you want to strive to become stronger and more powerful? And Hercules, perhaps being one of the most beautiful men, you know, with the most incredible physique, right? Maybe we should strive to be like Hercules. When I was in the Philadelphia Museum of Art during the antique show a few weeks ago, I remember actually looking at a print of the Farnese Hercules that was inside the walls of that museum there, and looking at the sculpture, you know, or looking at the form in this little print in person. And the myth of Hercules descending to Hades to conquer these three-headed dogs, you know, and the different trials and tribulations that he undertook throughout his journey. You know, there's a struggle, there's pain, there's suffering, you know, so maybe embracing that, we too can strive for greater heights like Hercules. You know, we too can become strong demigod warriors like Achilles. You know, who's stopping you? Perhaps society, perhaps others' perception of what normalcy is. And so when we were born, when we came out of the womb and we entered this world, you know, we were naked. We weren't wearing shoes, wearing the Vibram 5-finger ELX barefoot shoes. You know, maybe us too, maybe we too should leave this world without clothes, leave this world without shoes, just like we got here. You know, the ascetic ideal, I believe, becomes misconstrued. It becomes this denial of the body, thinking of monks, thinking of the depiction of Saint Jerome hunched over in the paintings of Caravaggio, where he is sickly and ill. You know, the denial of life when you consider the monks and the way that they are striving for the afterlife. However, this life, this world, right here, right now, in the physical flesh, this is something to champion. And I believe through aesthetic practices of becoming stronger, through barefoot shoes, lifting weights, eating the liver like a savage wolf. And fasting, you know, where I don't need to eat in the for breakfast or lunch. You know, I can wait until the end of the day. You know, I think that there's new ways that we can embrace this ascetic ideal where it increases our power and our vitality. You know, I don't think that we need to deny this world. I think we should champion this world like this is paradise. And become the demigod, become the Übermensch. Wow. It's like a big hawk flying in the sky today, surrounded by those little birds. I remember passing through the park here in Rittenhouse Square, seeing a hawk swoop down from the trees, and it ate a baby bird flying in the sky, and all that was left of the scene were a few feathers fluttering to the ground. You know, the nature itself is violent. There will always be war, there will always be conflict.